Hello, dear friends. It's Bev. Welcome to our home, and thank you for joining me as we try to do this recipe together, and I hope you will join me. I hope you enjoy the recipe. I have selected a recipe from this book that I found in Lewes, Delaware. It's called Your Inner Skinny by Joy Bauer. Joy is a master's prepared registered dietitian, and she has written several books on nutrition. Solid advice. She incorporates all the food groups. She's very aware that there are calcium deficiencies and encourages us how to add calcium to our dietary pattern. This particular book is actually a weight reduction book, yet I was so attracted to it because the recipes are just chock full of advice that we are receiving nowadays to be more plant-based. Now, Bob and I aren't plant-based. We eat a lot of vegetables, and we will continue to, but we do enjoy meat and dairy. But as we're older, we are learning to do that in great moderation. Just can't get away with it anymore. So I thought, because it's Columbus Day, tomorrow's Columbus Day, why don't we make one of her recipes that is in the spirit of an Italian-inspired recipe. So I picked Joy's Minestrone soup, and I am going to tweak it a little bit, and she's very strong in her approach that you tweak recipes according to your dietary needs. We're all a little different. Also, according to your cultural or religious beliefs. For example, I'm using ham. Certainly, if one is vegan or vegetarian, they will not include that, or perhaps they're Jewish or Muslim, you're not going to use ham, or Hindu, you're not going to use meat. So all that is to be respected. You tweak it accordingly, and also according to your budget. And I have a combination here of fresh vegetables, frozen vegetables, and fresh mixed together. Canned beans. She uses kidney beans. I'm using white beans. I used canned tomatoes, and I'm using dried spices, not fresh spices. Also, I'm using canned broth. This is supposed to be organic chicken broth. It's low sodium. I would prefer to use fresh broth, but I haven't made any this past week or two. So let's get started with the recipe. And I am tweaking this a little bit according to our family's taste, as I mentioned. First of all, let me turn the heat up here. Now, she prefers to use cooking oil sprays. I do olive oil, a little bit too much, but I love it. I would bathe in it, use it on my hair, use it on my fingernails. I would drink it if I could. But if you want to lose weight, you certainly have to watch how much olive oil you're using. This isn't hot yet, but let me see if I can show you the amount of olive oil that's in there. I'm praying to God this camera's working. It's just blinking away, and I'm praying to God it's working. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is add my fresh vegetables. Now, for ease and to save cleanup, I have all my fresh vegetables, most of my fresh vegetables, in this one container. I have chopped zucchini, chopped carrots, chopped celery, and chopped onion. And we're going to put that in. And you do not hear a sizzle, and that is because the pot's not hot enough. So I'm going to put the lid on it. And see if that doesn't get started. I also have here the next set of vegetables that go in. She called for fresh green beans, fresh spinach. I'm using frozen green beans, frozen spinach, but I have fresh arugula in here. And I think I'm probably preaching to the choir, but for those of you who are vegetarian, arugula is an excellent source of calcium. It's terrific. I think like 2 cups of arugula has, I think it's like 130 milligram of calcium, and that is really, really good for a green vegetable. Now this will cook down to nothing, but that will also get thrown in here after this gets cooking a little bit, which it's not doing, but it will get there. Then I have the canned tomatoes, just plain diced tomatoes. She recommends no added salt. I'm using ones that have a little bit of sodium. I have canned beans. I prefer a white bean for this. She used kidney beans, but these are just canned beans. I drained them and I rinsed them thoroughly in cold water. I don't like that gooky stuff on them. And I apologize if I'm repeating myself. Now, she uses turkey ham, she uses turkey bacon. And if you're careful about nitrates, I bought regular ham that is uncured. Still has a lot of salt in it, but it doesn't have all the nitrates and all that sort of thing. I think I'm going to chop up a little bit more onion too. This is your regular old-fashioned cooking onion. There's nothing fancy pants about any of this food. It can all be bought at a grocery store, any grocery store. I bought all of my supplies yesterday at Aldi's. I shop at Aldi's, I shop at Wegmans. Bob goes to Giant, Weis Market. We go to Costco. We're all over the page, and of course, we couldn't be like that when we were working. You don't have time, but now we have time that we're retired and we can go where we like. This is roughly chopped, coarsely chopped, because in a soup, it's going to cook over time and get mushy. If it's too tiny, it will be too mushy. Well, that temperature is up as high as it can go. And maybe it's the receptacle. For some reason, it's not doing too much. Well, beginner's luck. So what I'm going to do is put the next ingredients in, which would include your ham, turkey ham or turkey bacon or whatever you want to use. Since this is Italian, you can use a little bit of pork. You can use what you like. Get that coated up with olive oil. do want to show you, look how pretty that is. All those colors, isn't that pretty? It's pink and white and green. And we'll just pretend that just sauteed up the way it needed to. And then you're adding your other ingredients, which includes your arugula, your spinach, your green beans, and that would cook for another 5 minutes. You put in your tomatoes. Your beans. And your chicken broth. Let me see, I think I need a little bit more broth in there. This makes like 14 to 16 cups. I think that's good. Put in a little bit of oregano. I'm using dry, so you want to do this. Releases the oils. Put a little bit more in. 3 bay leaves. These will come out after it's cooked. I'm sorry, I'm gonna put my back to you. And put in a little bit of freshly ground pepper. And give us a good stir. Put the lid on. Now we'll have to let this come to a boil. I honestly don't know why it's not heating up as quickly as it does, because this pan gets hot really fast. It could be because of the volume of the food, and plus I have cold food in here, frozen food in here. But we will let this come to a boil, and then we'll reduce the heat, and it will cook for at least 20 to 25 minutes. Now over here, I made up a tiny little portion this morning because I was curious to see what it would look like and come out like. And the broth is surprisingly rich from just having, you know, beans in it and that tiny little bit of meat, but there's like a nice hearty consistency to it. And let me take a taste. It's really good. It's very, very good. This would be wonderful to take camping, which we need some soups for the camping weather that's right around the corner. Be great tailgate party to warm you up. It would be good also, you know, there's with the holidays coming up, they say eat something healthy before you go to the parties and you don't eat a lot of junk. This would be great. It would be great, I think, as part of a lunch or supper. I don't think it would be enough just as a lunch or supper, because this is about 1.5 cups here. And I can't imagine, even with 2 cups, that it'd be satisfying as far as the flavor, but I think you would be hungry afterwards. But you know, you could do something like this. You could make a nice sandwich on the side, like this is Italian bread. Just take a little bit of olive oil and put it on the bread, tiny bit of mozzarella cheese, pop it in the toaster oven, and make like a sandwich on the side with the soup. Have it as an appetizer. It's really, really good. So thanks for joining me today. I hope you try this recipe. Because it is a minestrone, you add basically the vegetables that you want to add. So if you don't like carrots, omit the carrots. If you like more celery, add more celery. And basically all you're doing is making sure you have enough broth to cover up all the vegetables to make the soup. And you might ask yourself, well, why did you have to saute the stuff in the beginning? Which I'm sorry, we did not achieve that step. That's what brings out the better flavor. This will taste good, but it won't taste as good as if we would have taken those extra 5 minutes and saute your onion and your little bit of meat and your celery. It releases more flavor from those foods that goes into the broth, but this will still be really good. So thank you, and I'll see you again. Bye, and happy Columbus Day.